Federal judge yesterday in San Francisco ruled that the Trump administration violated federal law by deploying 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 U.S. Marines to Los Angeles over the summer during immigration enforcement operations. The action, of course, breached the Posse Comitatus Act, which Trump says gives him right to do it, and obviously did not. It forbids the use of military forces in domestic law enforcement. That's how it's written. Somehow Trump mixed that up and figured he could do it. It's what he does. Judge Charles Breyer said the deployment was not about defending federal property or personnel, which they said it was, but crowd control, arrest, and public order duties. That, he also added, undermines democratic safeguards that keep military power in check. The order prohibits troops from engaging in those law enforcement roles starting on September the 12th. So they still can do the stuff they've been doing all summer, which is illegal, for about another week. Unless officials can prove a legal exception for what's going on, the Guard troops will be pulled out essentially on the 12th. California Governor Gavin Newsom brought this case in, calling the deployment an authoritarian overreach, and Trump administration actually disagreed, obviously, and also plans to appeal this reason. And of course, right now, 300 Guard members are still in LA, roaming the streets, protecting federal buildings, and basically backing up some people doing some ICE enforcement. But they must cease any enforcement actions under this injunction now, and they must be ceased, like disappeared, in a few days. The ruling applies only to California, but it's more about local law than we think. Legal experts say it could guide future disputes over the use of military force in the U.S. Of course, Trump right now is in Washington, D.C. There's a little bit of a wiggle room for D.C. because of how it exists. But right now, he's been pushing very loudly, very proudly in his end to send troops to Chicago, saying, Governor Pritzker, give me a call. We got this thing going on. To which Governor Pritzker is saying, dude, this doesn't work this way. That's not how democracy works. We'll see if Trump will find a way to bolster up his claims that he can send Guard troops in to fix the crime issues, or whether he'll back away from this one. Administration is arguing that the troops were protecting federal agents and property, insisting that the Constitution gives them government authority to do those things in emergencies. But that's what they were claiming. In actuality, that's not what the optics saw. Critics say the move threatened civil liberties by mixing military and law enforcement, which it did. The outcome now hinges on upcoming appeals. Trump is good about appeals going forward. Now, we actually now have a definition by a judge that's not Donald Trump's legal team that defines Posse Comitatus Act and what it does. Because history and civics already taught us that, but Trump does not so much listen to history and civics. It reinforces the principle that military should not act as police, but hands of federal officials may be tied in the process of trying to get this thing worked out, because Trump keeps pushing. Trump keeps making things go forward in his direction until he can't. But by that time that happens, there's something else he's pushing to make things go forward. Did you know of the Posse Comitatus Act before, or is this new to you? History tends to annoy us by sticking around and meaning something. It is what it is. Your comments on the federal troops, the National Guard, being pulled out of LA eventually, as they've been there all summer, but right now we figure out they're illegal. What do you think?